Okay, I am joined today by Maria Cola. Oh my God, you just told me. Colalancia. Maria Colalancia. Maria is the founder of the Aperitivo Society and the owner of Aperitivo the Shop, Boston's go-to destination for all things hosting and aperitivo. She started her supper club, the Aperitivo Society, in 2023 after moving to Boston for work as a way to build her own community and flex her own hosting muscles. One viral TikTok later, and the Aperitivo Society blossomed into a community of several thousand spanning across New England. Today, she nurtures the same community while also running her shop, encouraging people to slow down and gather with one another and make little moments special. You can visit the shop at 42 Prince Street in Boston's North End, or join in on the fun online at theaperitivosociety.com or aperitivotheshop.com. Welcome, Maria. I'm so excited to talk to you today.
You. I'm so excited to chat.
It's so fun. I attended as one of, I think, the earlier dinners. It was
Yeah.
in April of 2023.
Yep.
So it's been so incredible to watch this journey for you progress as the supper clubs came and went and to see all of the different themes. And then when you announced the shop and now seeing it in all the iterations that it's taken, it has, as someone who has seen it since the beginning, it has been really, really cool to watch. So I'm very excited to chat with you today all about the shop specifically and how you get to choose what you put into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you, between the supper club and the store, you're very synonymous in Boston and in New England with hosting. So do you think that that sort of naturally lent you to wanting to open a shop that would support that, culture of hosting and supper clubs and really like that invigoration of the gathering movement post the pandemic?
Yes and no. That's how I kind of always answer that question. So my background is in retailing. I have a retailing and fashion merchandising degree, and I always kind of thought like my initial career goals and aspirations were to just like be high up in some like luxury fashion company. But I always had kind of said like in my retirement or whenever I get tired of being in the fashion world, I just want to like retire to a little beach town and have a shop. And then there's been other iterations of what I kind of thought owning my own retail space would look like. But when I got here and when the supper club started, like literally everything just kind of snowballed and like things just kept falling in my lap. And so the store as it is today is 100% a product of the supper club and the hosting. And I think the store as it is not what I always had a vision of, but it is exactly what I want it to be for this thing that has happened, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost like you had this sort of vision, but you also provided enough room for growth, adaptation, and for it sounds like a little bit of magic from the universe just to sort of take it to this whole other iteration that, like you said, wasn't necessarily what you imagined, but something that is exactly what you want. That's so incredible.
Absolutely.
And you credited a viral TikTok, I know, as you mentioned, and how things just exploded and you said snowballed. Do you think that that same sort of momentum happened with the store as well? And do you think that those two forces kind of combined to help the store get some of that initial traction?
100%. I say all the time that I would not have this business without TikTok. And when I opened the store, I did like on my personal TikTok account a lot of just like posting behind the scenes of like renovating the space and what I was putting into it and everything. And that like had a huge reach, which was awesome. And I still today get people who come in and they're like, we saw this on TikTok, or like we're visiting from wherever. And, when we were looking for things to do and places to go in Boston, this is what came up. So it 100% is my strongest marketing channel. And yeah, I always say like, I literally would not have any of this if it weren't for that.
It's so incredible. It's so nice to have this tool that is as that everybody has access to and people now utilize it. It's like having a Yelp or what's that travel one? You know what I'm talking about? Like
Yep.
like everything is suggesting it and it gets so many eyeballs on it. So that's so incredible. And you
Yeah.
mentioned you know, that the shop is sort of a culmination almost of all of the different suppers and different events that you've hosted through Aperitivo Society. So I would love to hear a little bit about, when deciding what goes into the shop, and especially with this sort of background understanding that what you put in the shop is going to be online, both through what you post and through what people who come to your store post. So just sort of that balance between how you would want to curate the items for the shop versus how much do you consider, for a lack of a better term, like virality and like what is hot in the moment. Like how do you find that balance?
My goal when picking products and kind of like where I started was really like thinking about brands and products and product categories that I personally like to shop, but found hard to find in the Boston area. And so that's kind of where I started from. And then obviously being in the North End, that influenced a lot of it. Just one, the Italian culture of it all, but also just needing to cater to like the high tourist foot traffic as well. So I guess I would say those are like the three things that most heavily impact what I'm bringing into the store. I'm trying to always bring in new things too. Like I do have some things that I'll always have in here, but I also want to constantly be bringing new things in. I meet a ton of people through like social media and stuff, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest. And that's been really cool just to like meet other small creators and artists and stuff and be able to carry their products. So it kind of has been a mix of things, but yeah, I really want to make sure that I have products that I know other people will want to shop, but that other places don't have. Because I mean, that doesn't do anyone any good to just carry the same stuff as someone down the street. So
Exactly. And it's, yeah, to think about the foot traffic. Like, as someone who, you live in Boston, I used to live in Boston. So we sort of understand that the North End is just another neighborhood, but at the same time, it's a heavily visited neighborhood for people who are coming into the city for the day. And so there's that extra punch of like these people, some of them, of course, I imagine a good percentage of your customers are people who, are there from either they've been to one of your supper clubs or they live in the city and they want to start to curate their apartments, their homes, but also people who are just walking by who see your displays and say, that place looks cool. I want to check it out. So there's so many different potential customers to consider when you're curating everything that goes into the store.
yep.
I imagine that it's a lot of like, it comes down to some tough decisions about like, um, there are a lot of things I imagine that you want to keep in the shop or at least have, do a small run of it. But space, of course, comes up. It's that sort of that demon that you can't quite fight. Like there is space that is this. Oh my gosh, I can't talk today. The space is limited to a
Yep.
certain extent. Um, so have you had to make some tough decisions about what you can have in the shop at a specific time? Have you ever had to sort of, make a tough decision between a few different items or sort of specifically curate, a collection that goes together and say, okay, I can fit this in here, but I maybe have to wait until the next iteration for this other product?
Yeah. I mean, anytime you bring any grouping of merchandise in, it is quote unquote a hard decision because you don't know if it's going to sell. And that is a huge investment for something to not sell. And so, like, everything that you bring in does feel pretty high stakes in that way. And so, everything that I do bring in, I really think through and think, okay, like, if this doesn't sell, what do I do with it type of thing. So, from that perspective, yes. And then I would say, from like just a general curation perspective, like, I am somebody who is such a people pleaser to the point where it gets me in trouble. And that's where I have a hard time. Like, I get people who reach out to me and they're like, we think our brand is perfect for the shop, and it might just not be the right vibe or the right price point. And having to say no to those people is really hard for me because like I recognize that everyone is just another small business trying to get sales and make ends meet, and we're all the same in that way. And it's hard for me to be like, okay, like I know that you want to support them, but also you need to think about like your bottom line here. You don't just have money to spend and space to spend. And you know, ultimately you need to stay true to your brand and what you know is going to sell. Um, so that is always hard. But yeah.
Yeah, that's super understandable. And related to space, I know that before we hopped online, you were talking about how you just recently did make a space change. And so I would just love to hear about how that, if at all, is playing into the way that you're now choosing products for the shop.
Yeah, it doesn't really change the way that I'm choosing the products that are in here, but the biggest motivator for wanting to come down into this space was storage and really wanting to be able to start expanding my online business and really just expanding business within the shop itself. Because now I can react a lot quicker to out of stocks or new product introductions. Like it was really hard in the old space transitioning from season to season because like you know, now I can like have all my fall stuff ready. And so September 1st, like we can switch. Whereas last time it was like I had to order all the stuff and then wait for it all to come. And I just didn't have anywhere to store any of it. So that was the biggest motivation. And then just the layout of this space just feels better for everything that I have. The other space was like a long, like shotgun style store, and had really high ceilings. And so it's better suited for a boutique. Like a boutique is in there now and it looks great. So I think that was a big like change. I don't know that it influences like the actual products that I'm carrying, but just kind of the way the products now speak, I think is much better in this space.
Yeah, and that's interesting too, the way that the space is just as much has just as much influence on the products and what's going into it. It's
Yeah.
it's really interesting to hear that perspective. Um, so obviously you have done so many cool things since you moved to Boston just a couple of years ago. You have started Aperitivo Society. You now have Aperitivo the shop. These are things that I think a lot of people look at and they see it as so aspirational. And they're like, oh my gosh, Maria is doing all of these incredible things. Do you have any pieces of advice for someone who looks at what you've done and they say, I want to do some version of that, or I'm inspired by the actions that she's taking and I want to take actions on, opening my own shop or, my own version of that? Do you have any advice for people who are seeing you as this aspirational person who is sort of paving the way to do what you want to do?
Yeah, the two things that I always tell people is one, everything is more attainable than we think it is. I think we think so many things are out of reach because either we were conditioned to think that or we're continually told that, or it's really just our fear is a lot louder than we want it to be. And it's really hard to kind of like quiet that and really just see it for what it is. When I did this, like I didn't have any money saved. I didn't have a business plan together. Like I had nothing ready and I just kind of jumped into it. And I'm not saying that that's the right thing to do, but like it all was so much more attainable and so much, I'm not going to say it was easy because it wasn't, but it was not as difficult as I think my brain and like the fear based emotions within me was telling me that it was. And I think I always say like the regret of not doing something is going to be so much stronger than the pain and regret of doing something and not succeeding at it. So I think that is like the number one most important thing. And then I think the second thing, this may just be more specific to me, but I imagine there are other people who feel this way, but I'm the type of person who I want something to be 110% perfect before I put it out into the world, but almost to the point where then I just won't ever put it out into the world because it'll never be perfect to meet my standards. And that is so bad. And with this, and I think just also being a creative person, it's really taught me to just like trust my gut and release the perfect pressure a little bit, because you're never going to be fully ready to do anything, no matter how much you think an extra day or an extra look or whatever is going to change anything. Um, I None of this would be here today if I hadn't just jumped at opportunities. I wasn't ready to do any of it. None of it was really that intentional, even though it turned into something with a lot of intention. But it's all just because I took leaps and was willing to walk before the road was fully paved.
I love that. Oh my gosh, that is so, I'm inspired. So those are beautiful words and beautiful sentiments. And it's really nice reminders, especially what you said about it's not as difficult or as unattainable as we perceive it to be. It's really all about the way that we look at something and what we tell ourselves is within our reach. So thank you so much. This has been, I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated by this entire world. It's something that I've only very tangentially touched. And so to hear from the inside, it's really cool. Thank you so much for sharing your perspective.
Yeah, thank you.
Incredible. Are you ready to move on to the Baker's Dozen?
Yes.
Okay, hooray. So Baker's Dozen, it's 13 very quick question and answers just for everybody to get to know you a little bit better.
Love it.
All right. So if we hit play on your phone right now, what would be here?
Ooh, that's such a tough one. Well, right now, my vintage Italian summer playlist is playing because that's what I always have playing in the shop this time of year. Um, but I think if it's like more a personal question, like what is Maria's little soundtrack? I am obsessed with Fleetwood Mac. Like I always put Fleetwood Mac on to get myself out of a funk. The like A side of Rumors specifically will literally heal me of anything.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I'm putting together a playlist of all of the different things that I get. So that's going to be a huge hit. Appetizer or dessert?
Ooh, appetizer. I'm a big savory over sweet.
So speaking of, what is the best thing that you ate this week?
Ooh, what have I even eaten this week? I like last night literally got a rotisserie chicken. I've been so busy I haven't even gotten anything fun. That's such a sad answer. I guess rotisserie chicken
Sometimes rotisserie chicken is great.
always hits. Yeah.
So if you weren't a multi-hyphenate business owner, what job would you want?
My dream job as a kid was to join the FBI. I still think joining the FBI would really be cool. I was like fascinated with the BAU growing up. Like I love the psychology component to it. So probably that.
I love that. And I think that your current position would be a great front to being a spy.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
What advice would you give your 10-year-old self?
Just keep going. You're going to get everything and it's going to be great.
Related, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
Ooh, literally the same. Like your life is not going to look what you thought it was going to. So you just need to let go and just keep going forward. But it gets so much better.
What is a gadget that you can't live without?
Hmm. Probably like headphones. I love to always be listening to something.
What is okay? So great leading question. Song that you want to hear on your deathbed.
Ooh, I don't know. Maybe My Maria by Brooks and Dunn. That's like my
Oh,
song. That's like the first song I ever like started kicking in my mom's belly to. So it would just be very full circle.
incredible. All right. What would be the title of your autobiography?
Hmm. Um, oh my gosh, I don't know. Probably like it's just not that deep. I feel like that's like the number one thing that I've learned. And I always say that, like, just to get myself out of like a stressed headspace. I'm like, it's just not that deep.
It's a good reminder.
It usually never is.
What is the last thing that you Googled?
Oh man. Probably, oh, actually, I have to get my car fixed. The information for a collision center, but that's again a sad answer, but
It's okay. What is something that you are currently loving?
ooh, lace. I don't know why,
Ooh,
but I'm like really obsessed with like vintage lace, like curtains or little placemats or like headscarves. I keep seeing like lace crocheted like market bags. I'm obsessed with that. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like a very like lace summer to me.
that's such a fun answer. What is something that you've never done that might surprise people to find out about you?
I okay, well, I've never gone cage diving with sharks, and that is like top of my bucket list. I love sharks. I love the ocean. I, as a kid, was obsessed with like marine animals. I would literally carry a book around called Dolphins and Whales, and I would go up to people, like random people at the grocery store, and I'd be like, "Can I tell you about dolphins and whales?" And I would like open my book. Like it's so embarrassing, but I still like totally geek out on the ocean and stuff like that.
I love that. We'll manifest that for you.
Yeah.
All right. And number 13, what is something that you wish you could experience again for the first time?
Honestly, I feel like so many things. Like, I just have a really hard time being present in the moment. And I wish I could go back to like every monumental thing and just quiet my brain and be like, just be here for a second. Like, it will be okay. You know what I mean? Um, like I even have a hard time with like starting the business and everything. Like people ask me like what it feels like and all this stuff. And I don't know that I've ever really sat with it long enough to like understand the full impact of it. But I think that's something I'm always trying to work on. It's just like being more present. And that's such a huge part of aperitivo in general is just like, it's not that deep. Put your phone away, be in the moment. And yeah, enjoy life a little more.
Oh, that's beautiful. And that's such a lovely ending. Thank you so much, Maria.
Yeah, thank you. That was fun.
Yay. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Um, so this has been obviously a very inspiring conversation. I'm sure that people, I know I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go to the shop's website. I'm ready to see all the inventory. I'm ready to pick out a few things, do a little early holiday shopping. Where can people connect with you to learn more about both your shop and the society?
Yes. So we have a few Instagrams. So the shop Instagram is aperitivo underscore the shop. The Aperitivo Society is just Aperitivo Society. And then the websites kind of correspond to that. So it's theaperitivosociety.com and then aperitivotheshop.com. And then you can find me personally at Maria R. Cola on Instagram and TikTok. And I share on TikTok like business advice and little tips and stuff. My TikTok was stolen from me, so I am rebuilding. So none of sadly like the like TikTok that went viral that started the Aperitivo Society and like all of the stuff like building the old store, it's all gone, which makes
Oh
me really sad.
no.
But we're starting over, we're building new, it's all good. So yeah,
It's not that deep. We
not
will
that
move on.
really, it's just a TikTok.
Oh, thank you so much, Maria. This has been an incredible conversation. I so appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Awesome.